Thank you. Hello and welcome everyone. My name is David Lim with Regulatory Doctor. I will be presenting to you today a very interesting topic, understanding FDA inspection policy and best GMP practices. Why am I saying as best interesting topic, although the topic itself is pretty well known to you? The reason that I consider this topic is important is that when we understand FDA new inspection policy and recent changes, and we can implement best practices as part of our daily GMP practice. So let's go to slide number 2. Slide number 2 is a general disclaimer for your own review. But I'd like to say one big thing, that is the entire content of this presentation are not intended to be all-inclusive. What I mean by that, although I consider I try to put the best content together, at the end you may have something that you wanted to hear more about. If that's the case, you may raise questions during Q&A session, or later you may send your question to today's host webinar panel. Then I will be more than happy to address any of your questions. In slide number 3, we have various objectives, starting from applicable laws and regulations, FDA manual that we need to be familiar with, hosting FDA inspection types, Form FDA 482 and 483, what are the keys, how to best communicate during FDA inspection, closeout meetings, and employee training, what is important, why it should be important, and some emotional intelligence issues. And then I will suggest the best practices based on my extensive analysis of FDA observations, FDA inspections, and warning letters, 483s, enforcement actions, consent decree, permanent injunction, for example. In slide number 4, it shows you the law that's applicable. For example, Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, we generally refer to it as FFDCA, or simply FDCA, or the Act. This is the statute. The requirements set out on the particular statute, we call them as statutory requirements. The legal requirements, statutory requirements, are implemented where? On the particular regulation, federal regulation. In this case, for example, Title 21, Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, Food and Drugs. FDA also has a couple of manuals that I like to mention to you as very important. For example, Investigations Operations Manual, IOM, as it literally sounds, operation. It is about how FDA operate their inspection. And then there is also another manual called Compliance Program Guidance Manual, CPGM. CPGM is the manual that FDA inspectors are trained to how to assess our means industry's compliance to the applicable laws and regulations. Therefore, for us to understand how FDA inspectors assess our compliance to the legal requirement, for example, then we need to look at CPGM applicable to your industry. If you are in drug industry, pharmaceutical industry, biologics, and medical devices. Now, as I mentioned, FDCA, for today's audio conference purposes, let me refer to FFDCA, or simply FDCA. Under FDCA, especially Section 704, that's where FDA inspection authority is stated. Now let's go to slide number 5. There is also Field Management Directive. I did not talk about FMD in a previous slide,